So, Smoothies with Sharon is the new series that we are starting tonight. And when I say smoothies, what comes to your mind? Fruits, greens, and dates. But tonight's smoothie is a very special combination. A combination of you, me, and our guest tonight, Kritika Matolia. So before I introduce you to Kritika, I would like to ask all of you a question. Did you know July was plastic free month? I didn't. Surprised, isn't it? When we think about plastic, rarely do we make a connection to the entire life cycle of plastic. You have to remember the very damage starts with its creation, the very beginning of its creation, till it's the end cycle of its existence. Although there is no end to this existence. Do you know that? It's surprising, yes, but that's how it is. Oil, gas, coal, or some of the ingredients that are required to make up, they're like a building block to make up those components that make plastic. And extracting all these is a very carbon intensive process. Did you know that millions of metric tons of carbon dioxide is released into our atmosphere every year because we're extracting these fuels? The ocean has already absorbed 30 to 50% of the carbon that has been let out since industrial revolution. Yes, and some 80 million plastic is already floating in the ocean. And this is having a devastating effect on the marine ecosystem as a whole. Maybe 9%, approximately 9% of plastic is getting recycled, or 12% of them getting incinerated, and the rest, 79%, is going into ending up in the landfills, sewage system, dumps, and our environment. Slowly and steadily, we are all building a plastic prison for ourselves and the entire planet. Disheartening, isn't it? Hey, but this talk show is not about losing hope. It's about raising our hope, creating that inspiration from within us. And that is the reason we have invited this young lady of 30, known as Kritika Matolia. She started her journey into zero waste at a very young age of 26. She's an active member of the citizen driven Garbage Free India movement. And the vision of Garbage Free India is to create a sustainable India where every citizen manages his waste responsibly. Wow, it sounds like music to your ears, isn't it? Exactly. So, without further ado, let me present to you our hope, our inspiration, Kritika Matolia.
Good evening, everyone, and I am absolutely delighted to be here today. So, I think Sandhya Shri, you already introduced me pretty well, and I don't really think I need to say any further. And I'm really happy to be here and inspire each one of you to take back something and start action towards protecting our environment.
So, Kritika, my first question to you will be how did you become the person you are today? Where did it all start? Please tell us your journey.
So I think the seeds to do something towards environment were planted since the very beginning, since I was a child. As a child, I was an animal lover. I also studied in a convent school. So, importance to environment and cleanliness around us was anyway given. As I grew up, I learned more and more. I also had a little inquisitiveness to read the labels behind the food that I eat to make sure that it's vegetarian. So, that started by reading ingredients in the products that I use, like the shampoos and soaps and other things. So this reason made me more inquisitive about the things that I use. But what also happened is when I grew up, I had this dichotomy: what I want to choose as a career. I wanted to be a fashion designer since a teenager, but a volunteering experience in an NGO made me look at social issues. And I was thinking of making a switch, and I actually did make a switch. And I thought, I don't want to do fashion anymore. It's a destructive industry, but I want to go into the social space. So, and that's where my learning started. My learning of social issues, understanding of what are the problems our world is facing. All that grew by getting exposed. So, with each aspect of life, increased my awareness and learning and wisdom about things.
Lovely. So, Kritika, was there a turning point in your life, or was it everything that happened very organically, one after the other? So, can you just tell us a little more about that?
So I think both things did happen organically in some ways where I started taking actions and my learning helped me to take action, but also to make a switch to the inspiration to aim for a zero waste lifestyle happened when I saw a video. It was a TED talk by Lauren Singer, who is a New Yorker who was around similar age as mine, maybe a year or two older than me, and she had this small jar and she only created this much waste in 3 years, and I was
Wow.
mind blown, and I thought that I want to do this is so inspiring. So that's when I thought I had started making some switch already because I was keen on it. I learned more about environment, but this just inspired me to another level and made me take more changes, more action towards environment. And I thought it's not enough to just put your waste in the dustbin. Just being litter free is not enough, but your waste ends up somewhere, and animals eat it. So birds eat it. So you need to be more careful about what waste you're generating.
So, tell me something, to be in this space, the space you're working in for the environment. Do you need to have a formal degree or educate yourself in some way to get into the space, or is it just passion that drives people into this work?
I think currently in the Indian scenario, it's mainly the passion that drives people. But yes, there are degrees, there are social work degrees with specializations and with general degrees. There are also environment related short courses by some colleges. There are institutes based in Pondicherry or Himachal Pradesh that teach you about this. So if you want to learn more, there are options available, but in current digital time, there is YouTube, there is Coursera, Udemy, where you can learn from. So options are everywhere. So if you're passionate, you can learn from anywhere.
Fabulous. I'm sure a lot of young adults who are watching this are very inspired and a new career option is opened up for them. Was it this awareness that you saw? It was just not the environment, the animals were consuming what we are throwing into the environment that led you to become a plant based practitioner?
I think, yeah, to some extent, yes, I was always a vegetarian, but seeing the destruction that plastic is doing to the environment, of course, made me shift my practice. तो प्लांट बेस्ड जर्नी मैं ऐसा कहूंगी कि ये दोनों एस्पेक्ट पे है कि अवेयरनेस प्लास्टिक के बारे में जब आई तब मुझे प्लास्टिक कंजम्पशन रिड्यूस करने की जिज्ञासा एकदम स्ट्रांग थी और मैंने वो किया एंड समवेयर मेरे मन में ये था कि एनिमल्स एंड डेयरी इंडस्ट्री इज ऑल्सो मतलब एनिमल्स को कैसे अफेक्ट करती है तो मैं चाहती थी कि मैं कुछ करूं पर मैंने इमिजिएटली कुछ एक्शन नहीं लिया बट धीरे धीरे विद अ स्लो ट्रांजिशन मैंने वो एक्शन एंड अपने अवेयरनेस के साथ एक्शन लेना शुरू किया एंड इवेंचुअली मैं प्लांट बेस्ड डाइट पे शिफ्ट हुई.
Okay, all of us have such beautiful journey towards getting into a plant-based journey, you know. So it's amazing. It's nice to hear yours. So a little away from the topic. The last 1 month, I have been researching a lot and reading up a lot about this topic because we were supposed to be meeting on this day. And as I was researching, I went through a whirlwind of emotions, Kritika, and there was a lot of things that I felt. Suddenly, I was extremely guilty about my lifetime. And after guilt, there was a kind of a dejection. Oh God, what do I do now that I'm so guilty? I have already done damage to the universe. And then there was anger that what if I'm not enough? There are so many other people who need to change. So there was a whirlwind of emotions I went through. And I would like to ask, did you ever go through these emotions? And how did you manage to turn it into a positive one?
So I actually felt all the emotions that you said: guilt, dejection, anger. And I think anyone who starts a new journey, which is for environment or for animals or to do something different, everyone I have come across faces that. So it's not something that only you are facing if you're trying. But yes, you feel left out because you don't know more people who are doing it. When I began, I felt very left out because I didn't know anyone who was doing it, and I was just inspired by a video, and I felt all alone. But soon I started finding a community of practitioners. I came across more people who are doing it, and I realized that I'm not the only crazy one. There are more people like me, and that made me feel positive. Another thing that made me feel positive was taking action, because the more you think I can't do this, this is not happening, it angers you. When you see people around you creating waste, it angers you and you want to fight with them. And I have done my fair share of fight, but I realized that you have to keep going on, you have to keep practicing, and you have to inspire others through your actions. And when you take action, I think the direction starts turning into something positive.
Fantastic. You know, the coach in me always kicks in, and I always want to also address all the emotions I feel when I work for something. So that was a very, very good tip that she gave us. Get into action, automatically the emotions will go into a positive one. That's
Also,
nice.
sorry, adding to this is never think that your actions are not enough. You keep taking actions and keep improving on it. There are still a lot of things I want to do, and they are my goal, but difficult to do at this point. But I know someday I will learn those things and I will do those things.
Yes, very true, Kritika. It's so nice to see a young lady like you so sorted in your head, and I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of people who are watching you. So tell me something. During your early years of getting into zero waste, was there a video or a book that was like super inspiring for you and it just propelled you into taking an action so that we can also watch that video or read that book?
So, like I mentioned, the TED video by Lauren Singer was the first thing that inspired me. And when you see that video, there is a mention of a book called Zero Waste Home in that video. So, I wanted to know, I wanted to get that book. It was a little expensive, but then I was like, I'll take it. And I actually I had moved to US for 1 year at the very same time. So the book came in handy because it was written by someone American, and what happened is it was very contextual in nature. So I learned a lot of things from the book. But when I came to India, things were very different, and not all the solutions that are shown in the video or written in the book apply in the Indian context, because the kind of waste is different, the culture is different, and the best thing is Indian lifestyle is very sink in nature. It's changing now, but there are a lot of traditional wisdom that we can learn in India. And I also joined a Facebook group called Zero Waste India, which was very inspiring for me in the initial days. And a lot of people were there who shared their stories, their struggles, and ideas. So I learned a lot of things from that particular uh, group. Other than that, I think YouTube is always there. If there is a doubt, I just search something on YouTube and I know there is a zero waste Mumbai Instagram page and also a community that I'm part of. So being a part of that community also has helped me a lot. And from being someone who took help from others to being someone who helps others now, I have made that change finally.
Fabulous. That is like super cool. You read a book, you joined a Facebook group, and you were a follower. Today, you're a leader. That's quite a success story. You know, I was when we were coming up with this particular series, Rena and I were chatting up, and Rena said, Sandhya, I still remember the first time it really hit me about waste is when we had a garbage collection drive in our Sharon's organic market. And there was a lot of people who got a lot of stuff to give it away. And that's when I realized that we actually have a lot of garbage that we bring out from our homes and we have no idea where it goes. And she said, after that drive, I became very conscious about what is the waste I'm bringing out of my home. And it clicked something in her head. And today she's walking the path towards zero waste by taking tiny, small steps. So when I heard that story, I said, wow, that was good. But I hope I also get a switch to switch that on. And now that I've gone through the emotional whirlwind, now I've also become very conscious. But there are a lot of people who are watching you today would want to know, I have heard everything, sab sun liya maine, abhi kahan shuru karu main? Where do I start? So where do we start, Kritika?
So there are a lot of different ways you can start. The first thing would be to understand the type of waste that you are creating. So go look into your dustbin, what kind of waste you are creating, and know the type of waste that you're creating. That's the first thing that we tell people. That's the first thing any person who's aiming for this lifestyle will tell you, that understand your waste, know your waste. And then find out what you can do. Like if you say create something once in 2 months and thinking about that, usse acha think of something you're creating every day and start taking action towards that kind of waste. And wet waste is something we all generate. We all eat food. No one can live without that. So taking action on that wet waste, which is more than 50% of our total waste, is something we all can start, and it's not difficult.
So that is really amazing. See, what happens is, we all read a lot and kids are exposed to concepts about waste management very early in their textbooks. As early as maybe in grade 3 or grade 4, they are taught about the 3 R's. So can quickly the viewers type in what is the 3 R's that are taught in EVS? 3 R's. Very good. Reduce, reuse, recycle. I love you all. So exactly. So we've all read this. And when I was talking to Kritika the past week, I realized that there is a lot of attention that is taken towards recycle and reuse. But there is very little spoken about reduce. So do you agree with me, Kritika? And can you just throw some light about reduce?
Yeah, I think in fact reduce and reuse both are little less explored areas. I would like to say there are more R's. There is an R called refuse, which a zero waster or a low waster will tell you. You start by refusing the things you don't want, because there'll be parties, there'll be events, there'll be people coming. They'll come and give you a lot of things, but you don't need it. The waiter will give you water. You don't want to drink it. Why to waste that water? Someone will give you tissue paper. You don't need. If you don't need, if you can wash your hands, then why to use it? So starting by rethinking and refusing is the first step, I would say. And of course, reuse and reduce are very, very important, because that used to be our Indian culture. We used to keep using things till they spoiled. We used to be proud that मेरा टीवी 20 साल पुराना है, मेरा फ्रिज 25 साल पुराना है. But अभी हम सब प्राउडली बोलते हैं मेरे पास लेटेस्ट फोन है, लेटेस्ट टीवी है, लेटेस्ट फ्रिज है, तो हमें क्या लेटेस्ट चीजों की जरूरत है क्या? वाई इज ओल्ड नॉट गोल्ड एनीमोर? So that's something we can do by reusing things for the long as we can. And reduce is of course again very important कि हमारी ज़रूरतें कितनी हैं, और हम अपनी ज़रूरतों को अगर पूरा करने के लिए जितनी चीज़ें ज़रूरत है हम वो यूज़ करें, हमारी कंजम्पशन को रिड्यूस करें, हमारे एक्शंस जो वेस्ट क्रिएट करते हैं उनको रिड्यूस करें, हमारी चीज़ों की रिसोर्सेज जो हम यूज़ करते हैं उनको रिड्यूस करें, तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. To summarize, let's reduce the need of resources that we are using. Let's reduce the amount of resources that we are using, and also relook at our needs and distinguish between needs and wants. So that's where the reduce comes into place. And someone is saying relearn. Absolutely, relearn
Yes.
is important. By learning new things, how we can take action is very important. And two very important R's are also repair, which we are forgetting. We are just throwing away things because they are broken. Can we repair them? Can we repurpose them and create into something new? These are my headphones that had spoiled. If you see this design, it was all coming out. I changed the wiring and I asked my mom to do a crochet on this. And now my headphones are perfectly fine. I don't need to throw them away. And I was told by people that throw it away, why do you want it? They're not working. But I was very sure that I will do it. I did it late, but I did it.
You know, Kritika, it's so amazing. Today I was using a blow dryer and I was looking at it. And then I realized this blow dryer was gifted to me by my cousin brother 24 years back, and it's still in good condition. So somewhere I felt I did not jump into the wagon of having a new thing. I'm still using something that is 24 years old and I have not thrown it into the universe. So, you know, so there are ways in which we all can help and we can do this. And these 3 R's are so important. Go back to our childhood, our kindergarten, and we have been educated. Our educational system has been shouting at us a lot of things. Because we all studied for marks, we don't remember the content we studied. So do try and do the 3 R's and move on into the several other R's she spoke about. And it's just so amazing. You know, in the plastic world, there is a word that is used called down cycle. Can you please help us understand what down cycle is? And is down cycle good to do? Can you throw light on that?
So when we talk about recycling, a lot of times that is actually not recycling but downcycling. तो रिसाइकलिंग में एक प्रोडक्ट होता है, उसको फिर से वो प्रोडक्ट बनाया जाता है. जैसे अगर आप ग्लास को रिसाइकलिंग में दोगे, इफ यू पुट ग्लास फॉर रिसाइकलिंग, इट बिकम्स ग्लास अगेन. इफ यू गिव टिन या एल्यूमिनियम, वो फिर से टिन और एल्यूमिनियम बनता है, दे बिकम टिन एंड एल्यूमिनियम अगेन. बट व्हेन यू गिव प्लास्टिक फॉर रिसाइकलिंग, plastic has a lot of categories. So if a plastic bottle, water bottle, mineral water that you drink, it's one type of plastic. If you give it for recycling, it will not become a bottle again. It will become a broomstick handle, or it will become a mug, which is a different type of plastic. So you cannot endlessly recycle a bottle and get a bottle again. It will become a different product. So what will happen is a need for new virgin plastic will always be there. So that is what happens when you actually do recycling of plastic, which is originally downcycling, not recycling. And the product quality changes. It's not the same product anymore.
Okay. So according to you, downcycling is not great, but it's better to downcycle than to throw it away.
Of course, it is better. That should be your last resort. Like if you can use products that do not need to be recycled. Of course, technologies are coming, but we are not there yet. So let's try to be conscious about what products and material and packaging we are using.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is another word you've heard is the resin code. So can you tell us what that means?
So I can just quickly turn over, like I was talking about plastic, that there are different types of plastic. The resin code actually shows us the different types of plastic. Okay. So like our mineral water is PET, So when you recycle it, it doesn't become, I mean, basically none of these become the same one again. There are upcoming technology, but PET is highly recyclable. So if you see that the recyclability, this should only be used once. If you see these resin codes, some resin codes are, these are basically the categories of plastic. And some of these categories are more harmful than the others. Of course, all types of plastic is not great for health, but some are more harmful than the others. So, for example, resin code 3 is more harmful and it's not easily recycled. If you see, not recycled in normal collection. And HDP is recyclable, it's a better quality of plastic. So, there are basically, yeah, this is the second type of, like, number 4 is LDPE. Which is recyclable. All these are recyclable, not highly recyclable, but recyclable. Number 7 is not recycled, actually. You might have to find special programs that collect it and do some upcycling, basically create a new product out of it. Upcycling is opposite of downcycling. So they make more useful products when they are changing this particular. So 7 contains all the type of plastic that cannot be fit into the top 6 categories. So, and this code is there in your plastic packets or bottles. When you look at the packaging, you'll see this code. If you don't see a code, that means it will fall in the 7th category.
Okay. Okay.
So that is something
interesting. Very interesting. Thank you so much for explaining it so beautifully.
And let's avoid the 7th. I mean, let's avoid all plastic, of course, but you can't do that immediately. So at least let's avoid the number 7. That's the danger mark. And number 3 also, if possible. Because when you see that triangle, you might feel that it's recyclable, but no, that triangle doesn't mean recycle. It just means the resin.
So, Kritika, you got this, you understood the impact, you became aware. So now how did you transition into this path? Can you give us some tips so that we can also follow that?
Yes. So like I was saying, that our wet waste is the large chunk of the waste that we create every day. So my first thing was targeting this wet waste because that's created every day. And what happens is I start, what you can do the most is start by composting your wet waste. So I started composting because that was in my hand. And a lot of people say that composting is smelly or it is bad or it's not great, but they don't know a lot about composting. And I failed for almost a year or two in composting. But when I learned it properly, I realized that it is so therapeutic in nature that when you are composting, you're not only reducing the waste, it smells like fresh rain. So it's a lovely smell. It reminds you of rain. And what also happens is you can use the ready compost in your garden and you can start growing a lot of things. You can start growing little food. I'm growing kadhi patta. I'm growing different types of palak, spinach. I'm also growing lemongrass and tulsi. And sometimes the beauty of compost is there is new life growing in it. So, and there are seeds in it sometimes. So new things start growing without you even putting effort. So I sometimes see plants that I didn't put effort to grow. So that's something you can start. A few other tips, very simple ones, is carry a cloth bag wherever you're going because it's lighter than your phone and you can take that cloth bag anywhere in your pocket or in your hand to buy vegetables or whatever you're buying. You can carry a steel bottle or a reusable plastic. I would say steel. Steel is always better. But if you still have, don't throw away your plastic because throwing away is again creating waste. So if you have a reusable plastic bottle, use it. But get a steel, or if you have plastic boxes, don't throw away everything. A lot of times people will throw away, get everything last, but don't throw away. Don't use liquid or don't put gravies in your plastic, but you can always use it to store dry items. So
correct.
So reuse the things that you have, and learn about it more. There are a lot of things that you can learn. We can teach you as an organization where I work. We do a lot of workshops. I think we'll talk about it too a little later.
Okay. So talking about your workshops, since you brought it up, So you actually, what do you teach in these workshops? You teach them how to make stuff at home, which can be used as a cleaning product, something like that. Is it a replacement?
Yeah, there is a cleaning product called, I mean, there are a lot of workshops that we can do, but there is an all-purpose cleaner called Bioenzyme, which is made with just three simple ingredients: water, jaggery, and citrus peels. So lemon peels or orange peels or any other peels. So it's all-purpose, but how do you use it for different things is something that you have to learn. So there are a lot of things that can be made with simple ingredients that are available in your kitchen. So हम अपने kitchen से शुरुआत कर सकते हैं. But yes, there are some things that you need to master in the beginning. But once you know, once you're pro, you can always make a big quantity and keep reusing them. So and in these workshops, can I share about few ideas of workshops?
Yeah,
that,
sure.
Yeah. So in these workshops, we can. So for example, I make my own hand wash. If you see over here. So
Lovely.
this is made with around 3-4 ingredients, and I keep customizing every time just to try something new, because different plants have different properties, or different kitchen ingredients have different properties. Some are antibacterial, some are antiviral. So I keep trying something new and seeing what works, what does not work, or sometimes just for the smell of it and just changing the aesthetics. So this is something we can teach you: making hand wash, making hair washes, making uh, and certain thing, making dishwash. Like something like a dishwash can be as simple as using a shikakai or a retha powder that is available in an Ayurvedic store. You don't really need to make it, but certain things you will have to make to use. So I don't use any soaps, but I use a bathing powder sometimes. So learning to make these bathing powder or tooth powder. So there are a lot of these things that we can make, from things that we need in our kitchen to things that we need in our bathroom. So there are these different things that we can learn to make at home when you want to make switches. Of course, there are options to buy, but sometimes it's easier to make, or sometimes it's like a fun project that you're doing and you're making, and not all the products might be available in your location. So that's also a challenge.
Okay, that is fantastic. And all these ingredients that you're talking about, which you are going to make at home for our home use, for our kitchen, our toiletries, or personal use, all of them are available readily. These ingredients are easily accessible, or are they complicated to fetch?
Like I said, most of the ingredients are available in your kitchen, but there are some ingredients, some different ingredients that might not be available, say immediately. But if you find an Ayurvedic shop, mostly say, I always recommend people that find an Ayurvedic shop near you, and a traditional one, not the one that will say that is selling everything in package. Otherwise, the purpose is not solved. I mean, you will reduce the chemical usage, but you will increase the plastic use. But traditional Ayurvedic shops will give you everything. If you take your dabba, they will refill your dabbas and give it to you. And there are most of my ingredients come from these Ayurvedic shops if they are not in my kitchen.
Okay.
And there are certain, if you search online, certain eco-friendly brands sell these things in eco-friendly packaging also, which you can recycle easily, like cardboard packaging or other forms of packaging.
So I am so looking forward to the workshop where you're going to empower us to make all these things and keep them stored in glass containers and switch to a better lifestyle. So it was fabulous talking to you, and loved your journey and all the simple hacks you gave us. So I'm going to quickly recap our conversation with Kritika through a PPT presentation. And after that, we are going to have the question and answer session with the moderation done by our very own Shalini. Let me just do a quick recap so that you people remember what she told us, and we can always walk this path in our own time and space. Beware all that plastic that you are throwing away. They are going to the landfills, to the ocean bed, to the water bodies, and creating a lot of air pollution. The planet is melting away. So we need to wake up, understand the impact so that we don't do this again. Use of single-use plastic has to be stopped, my dear friends. Let's start by practicing it one day in a week or 10 days in a month. But let's start. Do you realize that you are what eats, and what goes into the ocean goes in you? When you start thinking you are what you eats, for example, if you're eating something, you have to remember what that eats. So when you start thinking about the entire link and the cycle, you will start to realize you are consuming plastic yourself, because you're just entering a food chain. So please wake up to this. Let the realization come. Now that you know the impact, please realize this and start making amendments. See, all of us have different ways of learning. Some of us love to watch things digitally, a documentary, like she read a book, she watched a TED talk, or some of you would like to know more information and solid information about the entire science behind it. I highly recommend you binge watch these documentaries so that you can really get a deep understanding about what plastic is doing to our planet. Remember the plastic prison I was talking to you about. Read a book. This book she was talking about, Zero Waste Home by Bia Johnson. And then she's joined a Facebook Zero Waste group, Mumbai, which helped her a lot. Today, she's an active member participating in the Garbage Free India movement. And then she did watch that TED talk by Lawrence Singer, which was very, very inspiring. So Lawrence Singer's TED talk is a very short one. I'm sure if you have heard us, looked at her, you're going to be Googling that soon, very after this talk, and wanting to watch what did Lawrence Singer say. Remember, friends, all of us do this mistake. When we realize plastic is not good, the first thing we do is throw it out of our homes. But there is no away. There is no place. It does not die. Remember, I told you about the life cycle? There is no end to plastic. It doesn't get absorbed. So don't throw it away. Please reduce buying it, reuse it, recycle it, and then you will remember the 3 R's she spoke about. And fantastically, she educated us about moving on from the 3 R's to the 7 R's. That is, refuse if you don't want it, just the way she said it. You don't want that water, say no. Reduce buying all those stuff which you don't need. Reuse whatever you can. If you can't refuse, reduce, or reuse, just recycle them. Then you can even rehome them, donate them. Whatever you can replant, please plant the seeds of whatever you have. And if they are rotting, they are not rotting, they are going to be composited. And all of us need to learn this. I personally want to learn compositing and start. I don't know to do it, so I would love to learn and do that. That is a big takeaway for me. Simple hack she told you about. Replace it with a glass bottle. Don't use plastic spoons. Stop using plastic straws. Just use a steel one. Have one in your bag all the time, and you can use it even in a restaurant. Don't use a plastic bag. Whatever you have, don't throw it away. Keep it, try to reuse it, and we can also find ways to recycle it. Always have a cloth bag with you. Most important, the first thing in the morning, we start our day by putting plastic into our mouth. Let's stop that. At least let's do that. Bamboo brushes are really cute. I've been using them for the last 5 years. They are amazing. Please use them. Areas where you can try and reduce plastic waste. We can't make an overnight change, but when we make small changes in all the areas she spoke about, she said self-care. So what are we using? We are using creams, and the creams are coming in a plastic bottle. We can make our own creams at home, right? Personal hygiene, highly recommend menstrual cups, women. Please replace them. You can at least stop the usage of sanitary napkins. Toiletries, shampoos, and soaps are coming in such plastic containers. Please stop using them. You know, it's been 25 years. I have not put soap on my body, and I think I perfectly look fine to all of you, isn't it? No, nothing at all. I've not used soap on my body. So you don't really need a lot of things. Kitchen products to rinse your Vessels, you definitely need something if it is greasy. If you're following a whole plant-based lifestyle, your utensils are not greasy at all. So one more reason why you need to go whole plant-based. Compositing, my personal goal, hope it's yours too. And very soon we'll come up with a workshop about how to do it. The emotional pendulum I was speaking to you all about. I experienced guilt, then went on to dejection, and then anger. Beautifully, our young lady Kritika told us, start doing some action plan. Automatically, the emotions will disappear, and you will start with, where do I start? Just the way I asked her. And she directed us towards our bin. Look into the bin on your home, and you will begin to realize what is the kind of garbage that you are accumulating, and you will know where you need to stop there. Let's start that, and let's also walk towards being like Lauren Singer, who after 3 years of zero waste living came up with a garbage as small as this. Can you believe it? I know it's a tall order, I'm not telling you do that, but all I'm saying is if she could do that, at least let's try and do this for one day. For one day, let's bring out a garbage as less as this. Let's try, my dear friends, because I'm highly inspired. I hope you are inspired too. So we are open for Q&A with Kritika, and Shalini will take over from here. Thank you so much, Kritika. Over to you, Shalini.
Okay, Kritika, that's asking, is Tupperware good for storing dry food items, say groceries?
That's a very good question. Like I told earlier, that reducing your waste doesn't mean you throw away what you already have. If you're buying something new, of course, prefer steel jars, steel dabas, or maybe glass. But if you already have it, don't throw it away. It is a better quality of plastic. Avoid liquid items. I mean, though Tupperware claims that it's good for liquid, it's still plastic. It's still made by mining, and there are a lot of additives. So avoid it for liquid things. Try to store dry items. That should be fine.
Yeah, that's nice. We should not throw it, just keep using it till we can. Yeah. Okay, Bimal Shah is asking, what do we do with the plastic bags we already have?
So that's a very great question. If you are in Mumbai, you can, I think Garbage Free India's Instagram page was shared. You can get in touch with us through Facebook or Instagram, and we have our collections in Mumbai and Delhi. We will be restarting our collections in Kolkata. But if you're in any other location, there are a lot of other organizations that do that. There are dry waste collection centers. So maybe just Google dry waste collection center and put your city name. So you can find dry waste collection centers.
So Sujata is asking what to do with vegetable vendors. They bring lots of plastic. I think refuse it, right? As you said.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Refuse it. Always take your bag. I generally don't order for that very reason. I don't order food. I don't order vegetables. But if you have a fixed vendor, you can always give 2-3 cloth bags whenever you're traveling to that place, and give 2-3 extra cloth bags and say that you deliver it to me in this bag. I have done that in past. I don't do that anymore because I don't have a fixed person I buy from. But if you have one fixed person, you can give your bags to them and say, deliver it in my bag.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Thank you. And what is to be used instead of sanitary napkins?
So there are multiple reusable options. The two most common ones are, one is a menstrual cup, which I personally use. So menstrual cup एक reusable product है. It lasts for almost 10 years. We also do workshops on sustainable menstrual hygiene, in which we talk in details about the problem and how you can make a switch. But menstrual cup is one option. Learn about it, educate yourself. In the interest of time, I'll only name the products. Second option is cloth pads. So there are reusable cloth pads available, and they are quite comfortable. And for some people, they prefer a cup, some people prefer a cloth pad. So depending on what you prefer, you can choose. There is another new option that has come in the last few years, is a period panty. So it's an underwear that is designed for periods. So the underwear absorbs your blood, and it's reusable in nature. So you can use a period panty, which is a third option. These are most common ones in India, which I could recommend to you.
Hema Bhatia is asking that she's making organic bath and beauty products. How can she pack them and sell it?
Okay, that's a good question. Yes, a lot of times small businesses have these questions. So there are different options. There are some brands that sell their soaps in paper packaging, so kind of a butter paper, like along with the brown paper. There is one very interesting packaging of a soap that I found was dried banana leaf was used for wrapping around the soap, and then there was a simple paper strip to tie it properly. So I found it very nice because there were two layers anyway needed. So one layer was of a banana leaf, which is fallen. Generally, these brands don't pluck it, but they take the fallen ones. So there could be leaf packaging as an option. And if it's a dry powder kind of material, you could either reuse existing packaging. So you can collect packaging material from people and reuse that instead of buying something new. Or you can use glass or tin if possible. But reusing is a best way to reduce the waste, is what I can suggest.
Yeah, that's great. So Renuka has again typed her question that drinking water, RO water purifier is in plastic make, right? So can we store water overnight in there, or we have to store it in a mud matka or steel?
Okay, that way, yeah, it's a good question. I think it would make more sense to store it in a matka or a steel. Matka is always said to be good. Even if something from the matka will go in your body, it's soil, and we are all from the soil, and we all go back to the soil. So really, soil doesn't harm us. So you can store it in matka and keep it.
So Kavita is asking that all groceries she purchases is from an organic shop which has plastic packaging. So how do we educate them about an alternative, the shopkeepers?
So I think start talking to them. Some of the shops have started making change. Of course, it's a little slow, but educate them, tell why it is important. Maybe they can start keeping cloth bag and charge a small fee on the cloth bag. So once they do that, that way it's not like they are losing money because of taking cloth bag. And certain people also do a returnable cloth bag system where you pay the money for the cloth bag, and if you return it to the shop, they give you the money back. So that way it's a win-win situation for both the people. So you can start by educating them that.
Yeah. So definitely today's talk has been a real eye-opener for me and for everyone, Kritika. Just can't thank you, Sandhya enough for organizing such beautiful talk with our real heroes, and Kritika at such a young age is like into this field and educating and working so hard. And as she takes, rather than thinking, start taking actions. That's the first thing we need to overcome. Just don't go into that guilt trip or anything. Just start taking action and look into your bin. That's the best thing. I liked it. Yes.
Other simple tips maybe I can just add that I might have missed. For instance, things like self-care products. We often think that we need to use this product because we've been conditioned to think that that product is essential. Sometimes it is not. For example, I have a very dry skin, and I used to think I cannot survive without a lotion or a cream. And a cream would also make my skin extremely dry. But I started using coconut oil. I sometimes use sesame oil. And these are very rich oil. They are natural. So they actually soothe in the skin. And stopping the use of soap actually helped reduce the moisture from my body. So that is something, and we are conditioned to think that we have to use soap. But when I stopped using soap, my need to use oil or cream or lotion reduced. So I apply just oil in winters, and rest of the time I don't, and I don't use a soap. I use a bathing powder, and that too I don't use it every day, as and when I need.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Kritika. We're really enjoying this program. And the question I had was, when you said you make these bathing powders and these toothpaste and things like that at home. When you buy the store-bought products, they have preservatives to keep the longevity of the product. So when you make the home-based products, how do you keep it without it getting spoiled, or or are there natural preservatives that you have to use?
So when the item is a dry item like a bathing powder or a tooth powder, you really don't need any preservative as long as you keep moisture away from it and store it in an airtight container. And I've seen my tooth powder not spoiling for even 6 months. Sometimes in rainy seasons, it becomes a little moist. So if you store it in a right container, there's no problem at all. About liquid things, yes, liquid things made with nature will spoil. So for cleaning items, like I was mentioning, bioenzyme, which is a natural cleanser, also is a preservative. So I use that as a preservative, which we can of course teach you all. So if you see my soap, these were made more than 2 months back and they're still fine. Because they're natural, the smell changes over time, which is perfectly okay, but it doesn't spoil the product because it has a natural preservative, which is bioenzyme. There is another option is a vinegar. So I also make my apple cider vinegar at home. But if you're buying vinegar outside, you can use that as a preservative. It's a natural cleaner also.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Just one question. How do you use the tooth powder as a toothpaste? How do you make it moist?
Okay, so actually, it's basically there are two ways. Like the traditional way is use your finger, but of course, sometimes things get stuck between your teeth, so it's important to even use a brush. So I use a mixed approach because see, bamboo also is not always made in India. So though I use bamboo brush, I also like to extend the life of the product. I don't want to use it for 1 month and then throw it away. That's also a waste of a resource. So sometimes, like in the morning, you have not eaten anything, so you can use your finger. But in the night, when you've eaten, use a brush. So that's something I do. Sometimes, if I'm traveling, I forgot my brush. I just search for a neem tree and I use a datul. And it seems like arey neem is bahut kadwa hota hai, but it's actually not that bitter. And you can use. So with tooth powder also, you can just use it like a regular brush. You don't need to moist it. Your saliva is enough to actually do it. And for dental hygiene, sometimes people use floss. So there are water flosses available. So you can use a water floss, which is an electric floss, which will last for a few years. So you don't need to use the synthetic threads and throw them away.
Thank you.
I've answered your question, I hope. There was one question on not soap and bathing powder. Occasionally, what do you use? So, like I said, एक notion होता है. We have a notion कि we have to use soap every day. That's because we see advertisements and it's been promoted. And I used to feel like that. And I have been a very germophobic since child. But I read more about it. I learned more about it. And I realized that ये सब society के created झमेले हैं, तो जरूरत नहीं होती है. ऑफ कोर्स हैंड्स क्लीन होने चाहिए, खाना खाते वक्त जर्म्स नहीं जाने चाहिए. So so if you're coming from outside, wash your hands. Now that everyone is doing that with COVID. And I use antiviral, antimicrobial things in my hand wash, so I know that my home based hand wash is safe. I sometimes buy soaps from outside which are packed in paper, but it's not like I always buy it. If I find an exhibition and I buy 2-3 and keep it in stock. So जब भी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, I use it for my hand washing. But for body, you really don't need. You can do an Upton bath every week. I mean, I don't do it every week, but you can. Like if you like, it's very soothing also. So and it's easy to make. And if someone wants to learn to make Uptons, it's a very cleaning thing, and your skin feels very fresh also.
Okay.
For clothes washing, I use a detergent from Coco Pusto, which comes in a metal box, and they have refills. So they send the refill in paper packaging. So it's completely plastic free, and they're a very good brand. I had even made a complaint once. They had changed their vendor, but they made a change immediately. So they're very they hear your problems and make changes.
Okay. We've learned a lot today, Shalini, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yes.
It is so amazing. And you know, the whole point is that we want to tell everybody is there is always a way out. There is always an option. There is always a way out. Thank you so much for all the feedback you're giving us. And we need to give more power to this young lady, Kritika, for doing what she's doing. Keep inspiring, keep creating that entire cascading energy to all of us, and we all will follow you. Thank you so much,
And-
Kritika.